What's up guys, with the holidays and Christmas just around the corner, I wanted to give you just a little sort of Nintendo buying guide for that Nintendo fan that you're buying gifts for. So let's get right into it. So starting off just with the essentials, if you have a Nintendo fan and they want you to play Nintendo games, the two main consoles you should be looking at getting obviously are the Nintendo 3DS. Now this is the Majora's Mask edition. This is a special limited edition version of it. I'm not sure if you're still able to get this one, but there are so many different limited edition Nintendo 3DSs out there. But you can start with this, and the Nintendo 3DS is actually pretty cheap now. You can probably get it for about $150, $100 even, depending which one you get with it. If you wanted to get the Nintendo 2DS, which plays all the same games, it just doesn't have the 3D effect. So that's essential. And then obviously the Nintendo Switch. If you have a Nintendo fan who wants to play the Nintendo Switch, you got to pick up one of these babies. And I mean, this is the hottest thing on the market right now in video games, and there's so many bundles coming out. But I would look at the Super Smash Bros. Bundle for the Nintendo Switch. And then if you were to buy the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo 3DS or 2DS, gotta pick up some games. So here are some games I recommend starting off with the Nintendo Switch. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu or Eevee. Really an amazing game. It's pretty much Pokemon a little bit more simplified. You don't have to fight a bunch of random Pokemon when you go out into the wild. You just catch them instead, but there are still battles in it. A lot of fun, and it's co-op, so you could play with somebody. And then we got Bayonetta 2. Now this came out on the Nintendo Wii U. And if you're like me and didn't have a Nintendo Wii U, there isn't a better place to play this other than on the Nintendo Switch, because it also comes with the original Bayonetta, which is also an awesome game. And Bayonetta 2 just improved on that and made it another amazing game. So I would definitely look at picking that up. If they like RPGs, you got to go ahead and get Octopath Traveler, an absolutely amazing JRPG. Great art style, a lot of fun, great battle system. So this is something I would definitely consider. And then another game that I absolutely love, Mario Tennis Aces. If they like the old Mario Tennis games, they'll enjoy this one. It's just a lot of fun. There's nothing really more to say other than that. It's just a lot of fun. So I would look at picking up Mario Tennis Aces. Now, one game I forgot to mention that I really think you should consider as well for the Nintendo Switch, kind of because it's a toy as well, it's Starlink Battle for Atlas. So this is a Toys to Life game. And here's the game itself. You can either get it physically or digitally. It doesn't really matter. I believe if you actually get it digitally, you get more stuff than if you were to buy the physical version, and for a cheaper price, which is kind of crazy. But you don't get this very awesome R-Wing toy. So this game is out on every console, but on the Nintendo Switch, the R-Wing and Star Fox come exclusive for the game. Now you may think this is just for kids, but honestly this is a great game for everybody. It's a lot of fun. It has lots of good RPG mechanics, and you can go on different missions, you collect a bunch of stuff, you build stuff. It's actually really cool. And the toy itself, the R-Wing, is a really cool, I think, just display piece. I have this on as just a display. I don't actually use this when I'm playing the game, but just for a display piece. And if they're a Star Fox fan, there's really nothing better right now to get than this version of the game with the toy itself. And you also get a little mini figurine, I think I have it here, of Star Fox himself. So you get this toy, and you also get Star Fox himself as a little mini figurine. So that's very, very cool, and it's definitely something that should be considered if you're picking up the Nintendo Switch for someone. Now, sticking on the Nintendo Switch, if they're going to be getting a Nintendo Switch, they're going to need a case, and you can get a pretty good case for about $15 to $20 from Walmart, and they're these style of cases. So I have the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild one, and this is an awesome case. It's well padded, it's hard on the outside. Even the little slip here for the Nintendo Switch itself has a little bit of padding on it, and it holds about 14 games, so there's plenty of room to hold games, especially if they're going to be going all physical. But definitely a beautiful case. I think you can get like a Super Mario one, you can get a Mario Kart one, so there's a bunch of different options out there, all the exact same style, just different, obviously, art on the case itself. Now, this is another accessory for the Nintendo Switch. It's the Pro Controller, and if you're like me, I play most of my games in the docked mode. So if you have a Nintendo Switch, you can play it in the docked mode, you can play it in handheld mode, and I play most of my games in dock mode just because I love the feel of this Pro Controller. I think this is one of the best controllers made. So if you're going to be picking up a Nintendo Switch for that special somebody, I would definitely consider picking this up, especially if they're not someone who's going to be on the go all the time with their Nintendo Switch and they just want to have the console at their house on their TV. Definitely consider this. And there's lots of different versions of this controller out with different color schemes. For example, the Super Smash Bros., the Xenoblade Chronicles game has a version of this, and I think there's a few other ones. I think Splatoon has one as well, but there's different color schemes, different versions, but I would definitely consider picking this controller up. It is an amazing controller. Now with the Nintendo 2DS or 3DS, There are so many good games out there. You really can't go wrong. You can get a lot of them for pretty cheap, but here are 4 games I would really recommend picking up if you were to pick up the Nintendo 2DS or 3DS for that lucky Nintendo fan. First one, Metroid Samus Returns, just an amazing remake of that Metroid game, and I don't know what else to say other than it's a lot of fun. They improved on the graphics, the gameplay is awesome, and you could spend hours and hours going back and forth through all the levels. Just a great game overall. Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, an amazing, fun platformer, but very hard. So if you have somebody who's gonna get frustrated, I would maybe stay away from this one, but if they love Donkey Kong and they love platformers, I would definitely take a look at this one. And then another great style game here, Fire Emblem Awakening, kind of a real-time strategy game where you have a board and you have enemies, and then you have to decide how you're going to attack those enemies, and you're moving around the board and trying to take out the enemies the best way possible before losing all your troops. This can also be very hard because you can play on a mode where if you lose one of your troops, you lose them for the entire game, and that gets really, really difficult, but very, very fun, very addicting game. And then one of my favorite games ever, and probably one of my favorite Zelda games ever. Well, it is one of my favorite Zelda games ever. The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Kind of a remake of the SNES classic, A Link to the Past, but it's a little bit different, mechanics in it, the dungeons are different, and just an amazing game. One of my favorite games ever made. If they like Zelda, definitely pick this one up. Now I have 3 more items next here. These next 2 are kind of go together, but you can either get one or the other. And it is the NES Classic Edition and you've guessed it, SNES Classic Edition. These are 2 just old school consoles that really gets people back to where gaming started from. And the SNES Classic, I believe, has 20 games, and the NES Classic has 30 games. So it has all of the best games on here. Honestly, if you were to choose one, I would go with the SNES Classic. I think this is the best classic console out there. Every single game on here is good. There is really no fillers in this version, and it has some of the best games ever made, like A Link to the Past, Super Metroid, the original Mario Kart. There's so many. There's even Super Mario RPG. There's just so many great games on this. You cannot go wrong with this one. Same with this one. I mean, if you really want to bring them back to nostalgia and show them where gaming really began for a lot of people, then I would go with this one. And there's not many fillers on this as well. And it's just so many great games to really discover where Nintendo started. And I mean, they're both in stock now. When they first got released, they were really hard to get. You had to pre-order them. They ran out of stock, and then you had to wait. But now I'm pretty sure you can just easily go and pick these up. So if you're looking for a all-in-one console that has amazing games to show people where gaming started and bring them back to these retro-style games, I would definitely consider the SNES Classic or the NES Classic. Now, this last item is probably one of my favorite items I have, and it is something you would buy specifically for somebody really who is a Legend of Zelda fan. And it isn't a game, it's actually a book, and it is the Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia. Now this here is just an amazing book. It has everything you need to know about the Legend of Zelda. So it has the history, it has the terrains. Oh, it's hard to open it here on camera, but it's everything you need to know about it. So I'll just show you a quick glimpse of the stuff. So it has everything. So the traditions, the different enemies in the game, the geography, the weapons, just literally everything you need to know about the Legend of Zelda, and you can spend hours and hours going through this thing. It has cool pictures and little descriptions of everything in the game itself, and if they're a Legend of Zelda fan, there is nothing honestly better to get than this, because they would just be, wow, there's so much information in here. Some big pictures too, and lots of descriptions and everything. And I'm just going to show this page, probably one of my favorite pages in the book, and it's right off the bat at the beginning, and it just shows every single cover art for every Legend of Zelda game, which is just so cool to look at and show how it evolved. Actually, it's missing Breath of the Wild, but I mean, that's brand new, but it just really shows how the games evolve, the cover art, and it goes through everything. So like I said, if you have a Legend of Zelda fan, this is something that needs to be picked up for them. It is the Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia. So yeah, that's just my little mini sort of buying guide for the holiday season, Christmas, whatever you celebrate out there. Let me know what you think about this buying guide. Let me know in the comments below if you have any of this stuff and if you'll be picking it up for anybody special. And I'll catch you in the next video.